Welcome to In Pursuit of Truth. This is your host, Sir Patrick Mac. Boys and girls, it is National Dog Day. My question to you is this: where my dogs at? You get it next time. Good boy. All right, well, I want to work you through a thread real quick from 2 days ago. And this had to do with kind of leading up to Dog Day, which we're talking about today. And if you remember from last year, we had a death last year of John No Name Cain, who passed away on Dog Day. It was actually technically reported right before it, but it was essentially Dog Day, depending on what time zone you were in. And Q had predicted this, and we're going to go through this on this Twitter thread here. We're not going to spend too much time on it, but I want to lead up to what I'm trying to say here. Anyway, it starts off saying 1977, check it out. And this was Trump right before he was leaving for the G7. And of course, he's wrapping that up now. But this was an interview as he was getting ready to leave, and just I can't unfortunately make out what the reporter is trying to say, but listen to his answer real quick in regards to trade tariffs on China.
They want to have talk, so we should. I'm always open to talk. Well, in 1977, we had an act passed, a National Emergency Act. I have the absolute right to do that. We'll see how that goes, but I have the absolute right. 1977, check it out.
Okay, so there you go, and he makes it real clear, 1977, check it out. So I did, and here it is right here. The International Emergency Economic Powers Act, enacted on October 28th, 1977, is a United States federal law authorizing the president to regulate international commerce after declaring a national emergency in response to any unusual and extraordinary threat to the United States, which has its source in whole or substantial part outside the United States. Okay, so this sounds a little bit more like it's about more than just tariffs, right? This sounds really, really interesting. Are we talking about Huawei? What are we talking about here? What is this unusual and extraordinary threat? Well, we know China is a threat, right? We know that a lot of the parts that they were making that were either going in electronics, phones, things like that, were spying on us. And of course, they were trying to get their 5G network over here in the United States really long before we could. And although I'm not real excited about the whole 5G thing, that's another conversation in itself. That was a big part of what this was all about, right? Now, let's go down here to the provisions in the United States Code. The IEEPA is a Title 50 fancy stuff, 1701 to 1707. Yep. The IEEPA authorizes the president to declare the existence of an unusual and extraordinary threat to the national security, foreign policy, or economy of the United States that originates in whole or substantial part outside the United States. That would be China, I guess, in this case, right? It further authorizes the president, after such a declaration, to block transactions and freeze assets to deal with the threat. Okay, so like I said, this sounds like a little bit more than just tariffs, right? In the event of an actual attack on the United States, the president can also confiscate property connected with a country, group, or person that aided in the attack. Okay, so this sounds pretty serious right here. The IEEPA falls under the provisions of the National Emergencies Act, which means that an emergency declared under the act must be renewed annually to remain in effect. Okay, so there is what he was talking about. And obviously, he wanted us to check up on that because he said it twice. Go check it out. And of course, I also wanted to go check out post 1977, and that was from August 29th of 2018, nearly a year ago. And we'll get to this link here in a second. That it was a POTUS link. Big statement. What's coming? So is this a year later? Is there going to be a big statement coming up? Not really sure. Dun, 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 says the Penguin. No. This was the tweet that was included in Q Post 1977. Keep in mind, I did this thread a couple days ago. Sound relevant? G7 coming. POTUS is out of the country. And this tweet was also posted on August 29th, nearly a year ago, oddly enough, at 11:11 a.m. And it says Hillary Clinton's emails, many of which are classified information, got hacked by China. Maybe that's what you were talking about in 1977 for. Next move better be by the FBI and DOJ, or after all of their other missteps, Comey, McCabe, Strzok, Page, or FISA, dirty dossier, etc., their credibility will be forever gone. Okay, well, this was relevant last year, but it most certainly is relevant again this year. And maybe that's what Donald Trump is talking about in referencing us to this Emergencies Act of 1977, showing that China is indeed a foreign threat. This wasn't just about tariffs. This was about Hillary Clinton's emails. Now, we're going to start getting a lot of this other stuff released now. We have some more announcements that have been made this week. We're going to talk about that in just a second. But Comey, McCabe, Strzok, Page, or FISA, dirty dossier, all sound like placeholders to me. And Q has talked about placeholders being put on the Patriotsfight board. And I have a feeling we're going to start seeing those again soon. And of course, that's what results in this next part of the thread. Perhaps that's why McCabe decided to get off the couch and get a job with CNN. And as you know, number 2 at the FBI decided to take himself a little talking head gig over there on CNN. Now, before you get all outraged, I would say that this is pretty natural. As a matter of fact, I mean, we know that this is a desperate man. Comey's desperate. McCabe is desperate. And so this isn't because he's taken some coin and he's all laughing at us in the process. This is a desperate man going on to a desperate network to try and tell his side of the story, because it's about to get ugly, and we're about to find some more out about nobody's homie Comey, which is going to take us, of course, straight back to Andrew McCabe. Post 1977 is nearly a year prior. G7 ends on the 26th, which is now, of course, today. Wait for it. Drum roll. National Dog Day. That's right. And that's today. And this is where I'm talking about No Name McCabe. And this was predicted back in 1649. This would have been July 1st, 2018, well before last year's National Dog Day. And this is where Q had said every dog has its day. And we were talking about John McCain. Q was responding to it and on here. And so we didn't really know what this meant yet. But then, of course, it made sense later on Dog Day when we lost John McCain. So that was a prediction. So who knows? Are we going to get another big announcement coming? And that's what I say. Big announcement coming. You know, I'd never predict anything, but I'll bet it's an interesting week. Now back to my palatial pursuity palace to get back to work. And as those of you know, I am working really, really hard. I'm back recording on the Weatherman, but we're not going to talk much about that today. Let's move on. Okay, so that got me thinking. Last year it was John McCain. What about this year? Could it be Darth Bader Ginsburg? She's undergoing cancer treatment after a tumor is found on her pancreas. It has just been reported that Supreme Court Justice Ruth Darth Bader Ginsburg was recently treated for a malignant tumor on her pancreas. God! Oh! Daily Caller reported that this was revealed by MSNBC's Pete Williams on MSNBC Live. She had outpatient radiation treatment that began August 5th to treat a tumor on her pancreas, Williams said. The court says this abnormality was first detected after a routine blood test in early July. A biopsy was performed in late July at Sloan Kettering and confirmed what the court describes as a localized malignant tumor, and as part of the treatment, a blue stent was placed. The court says she tolerated the procedure well because she's so tough, but has otherwise maintained an active schedule, he added. The court says the tumor was treated definitively, and there's no evidence of disease elsewhere in the body. Lies! She will continue to have periodic blood tests and scans, and no further treatment is needed at this time. Okay, well, if you remember, it was just about this time last year she was getting nodules off her lungs. This lady seems to be indestructible, right? And yet we don't seem to see really much proof of life. We have seen a body get trotted out. She looks a little bit taller, a little bit younger, in my opinion. But I'm just saying. But either way, Bader is not planning on stepping down. Well, let's face it, that we all know this. There's no constant, right? Now that we agree on Bader, how about billionaire donor David Koch, dead at 79? And as you can see by this, let me go ahead and blow that up for you there. This is a article from Breitbart. And on the right, actually, I believe this is, it says Jeffrey Epstein flight logs, but I believe it was actually in the Black Book. But it looks like David Koch was partying with Epstein actually after he was released from prison. And that was with Frito Kahlo Cuomo over there on CNN. Okay, so now we've got this knucklehead out of the way. Was this another old dog? And speaking of dogs, how about Prince Andrew, also named in those Epstein logs? And of course, he's been dealing with this for quite some time, trying to get out of the public eye. Well, we've got some nice news. Fergie and Prince Andrew jet off to Spain together for a family holiday. Still very close. Sarah Ferguson joined former husband Prince Andrew to the Royal Scottish residence in Balmoral earlier this month, but was forced to leave quickly after the sudden arrival of Prince Philip. The Duchess of York and her former father-in-law are believed to have maintained a frosty relationship since her divorce from the Duke over 23 years ago. But the Duke and Duchess soon reunited as they traveled to Sotogrande, Spain, to have a family holiday with their daughters, according to royal expert Camilla Tomini. Speaking to Sunrise, the royal commentator said their daughters Beatrice and Eugenie were with them in Balmoral, and indeed we understand the daughters are now in Sotogrande in Spain with the couple. Some people find it odd this couple, who are divorced, still remain very close. Sarah Ferguson still lives with the Duke in Windsor in his property, Royal Lodge, and they do holiday together. Miss Tomini added, Prince Andrew was with his ex-wife Sarah Ferguson in Balmoral. They still do go and visit the Queen in Balmoral, though notably, Prince Philip is never there because there's still a bit of frostiness really between him and his former daughter-in-law. And there we go. There's the couple right there. Don't they look pretty slick? They look like a game of Monopoly. Probably just a coincidence that we also have this happening in Spain. German father of two celebrating his 43rd birthday is among 7 people, including children, when helicopter and light aircraft collided over Mallorca. The dead man and his family, including 2 children who were in the helicopter, all died in the crash. The man is reported to be well-known businessman from Munich, August Inselkammer, who is believed to be the son of brewing entrepreneur. The 7 who died in the crash include the pilot of the helicopter and 2 people who were traveling in the microlight. Collision between helicopter and light aircraft happened just after 1:30 p.m. local time on Sunday near Inca Center of the island. Balearic Islands President Francina Armengol said the regional government would decree 3 days of mourning starting Monday. Now it says down here, my understanding was that it was a last-minute decision. The man whose birthday it was should take the bigger helicopter with his family, and all the other families should catch up with them in a car, probably because it was his birthday, the source added. Another report said the family wanted to see Mallorca from the air before heading to lunch with friends in Camp de Mar near Andrax, near where model Claudia Schiffer and British film producer Matthew Vaughn have a holiday home. How about that? The collision between the light aircraft and the helicopter occurred just after 1:30 p.m. local time near Inca in the center of the island. There has been no immediate official confirmation of the man's name from authorities, but he has been named locally as a well-known businessman from Munich called August Inselkammer, believed to be the son of brewing entrepreneur Franz Inselkammer. And I want to point out that I just did a quick search on August Inselkammer. It turns out that a few years ago, in about 2014, his cousin died in a really strange avalanche. I thought it was a very strange story. But there you go. Okay, well, if this is indeed our August Inselkammer, son of Franz Inselkammer, then that would be the Eyinger beer fortune. That family has been around for quite some time, so I imagine they got quite a bit of coin. Now, I don't know if they are indeed connected with Prince Andrew or not. I haven't found anything right off the bat. I want to point out too that the helicopter pilot, his name was Cedric Leoni from Italy. I couldn't find much about him just yet either, but I want to note too that usually when we find out about these things, it usually takes about 48 hours. You sift through enough things and somebody will come up with some sort of bang up connection. Not saying that there is at all, but I find it very interesting, believing that all the heat that's on Prince Andrew right now. And of course, down at the bottom left of your screen is Sotogrande right there. You can see it's about an hour and a half flight out here to the island of Mallorca where our crash was. But it definitely seems suspect. And of course, we are on dog day. So I think that, our ears are perked up for just about anything. But like I said, as of now, I don't see any direct connections, but we shall see in the next couple days. And now we got this from the Washington Times. Appeals judge found shot dead behind home. An appeals judge in Georgia was found Saturday shot dead behind his Albany home, but officials do not believe it was a homicide. Okay, from what I understand, he was found shot in the back of the head. Just saying. Albany police were dispatched to the residence and found Judge Stephen Goss, 60, in a wooded area dead from a gunshot wound, news outlets reported. Dougherty County District Attorney Greg Edwards said the investigation is ongoing, but it doesn't appear to be a homicide. Okay. Goss was appointed by then Governor Nathan Deal to serve as judge on the Court of Appeals of Georgia in August 2018. Before that, he served as a Superior Court judge in Albany for nearly 20 years. I want to point out, too, that he's up for re-election. He had to, in order to stay on the bench, he needed to run again in 2020. So I'm wondering if that's what maybe this was about. A statement from Chief Justice Harold D. Melton said Goss brought dignity and compassion to the delivery of justice all across this great state and was known nationally for his work on mental health and substance abuse treatment programs. Let me say that again. And was known nationally for his work on mental health and substance abuse treatment programs. Okay, so this is very, very strange. In 2002, Goss founded Georgia's first felony mental health court and substance abuse treatment program in Dougherty County. It was one of the early programs of its kind in the country, according to his online bio. The program assists those with felony probation or pending felony charges, many of whom have a long history with substance abuse or diagnosed mental illness. For the past decade, the Dougherty County program has been a designated learning site for mental health courts, one of only 4 in the nation. Okay, so here we have this mysterious shooting. We're not really sure if it's actually a suicide. We're going to find out pretty soon enough because they are going to do an autopsy. But I'm not really sure if this has to do with the preventing of a re-election for this Goss fellow. And like I just read you in the previous article, he started this felony mental health program. Now, I haven't seen any real issues with that. It seems to be a pretty highly regarded program. But I do want to point out that last year, actually January 2018, in Dougherty County, they did have a problem with elder abuse. And this was in another one of these really strange situations where these residents of these apartments were being deprived of health care, shelter, and necessary sustenance. And the scheme siphoned off the residents' Social Security benefits as well. So they were screwing all these seniors. And they were also putting them in what they called them dungeons last year. 49 individuals were rescued from such dungeons, he added. Residents, he said, are often neglected, abused, and financially exploited. Last month, Michelle Oliver, Harold Hunt, and Cynthia Riley were charged in a 17-count indictment with violations of the Racketeer Influence and Corrupt Organizations RICO Act, along with neglect, exploitation, and intimidation of disabled or elderly adults. Okay, so it goes on to talk about this guy right here, though. This is what I want to talk about. Oliver, 39, was arrested for operating an unlicensed personal care home called Miracle One Care Center. Hunt was arrested last month at his residence in the Atlanta suburb of Suwanee. As part of the scheme, authorities said Hunt would help Oliver obtain Social Security benefits for residents of Miracle One. Hunt would then act as residents' Social Security payee, sending money belonging to the residents to Oliver and keeping funds for himself, according to the charges. It also says, according to residents, Oliver would transport residents to Riley, who would give them injections of psychotropic medications and various prescriptions. Law enforcement officials said the residents reported they did not receive any other psychological or medical care. Okay, so there you go. Like I said, I don't know if it's connected, but it was in the same county within a year's time. Okay, so it looks like all this panic is usually in response to something dropping, right? And I believe that would be the Horowitz report. Now, we've been told this was coming. We weren't exactly sure when, but it looks like it's going to be coming out very, very soon. They were hinting to what the topics were on Fox News. They gave a lot of bullet points, and those bullet points seem to match up with what I was talking about with those placeholders. So it looks like we are getting some more D-class, and I made you a little video, but we can't watch it all, so I made you a montage.
Oh, it's a montage, cause we ain't trying to watch the whole dang thing now.
John Solomon revealed 10 declassified Russia collusion revelations that will be coming this fall that will blow the lid off this deep state scandal.
It's going to come out. It's going to be hard hitting. He's spent almost 2 years interviewing various people, witnesses, looking at what he describes as almost 1 million documents. and I think he's going to make recommendations regarding prosecution and turn this whole FISA, this Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act, these submissions, I think he's going to turn them on their head.
Put up on the screen John's 10 items, everything we've talked about, but he also said that he'd get to the bottom of Hillary Clinton and her rigged investigation. But look at these items. Christopher Steele's human source reports, the 53 intel interviews, Stephon Halper documents. It's right up there on the screen.
And Joseph Misford and all of the other people that were connected. Sean, we've only seen, and John's right, I mean, he put up 10. I think there's 20 or 30 that we are going to be seeing here. Remember, Horowitz's investigation, a lot of it is classified. I've spoken to sources who know Horowitz. People have not had leaks coming out of his office because the thing is that he's almost every document that's arrived to his office is highly classified. What we've seen over the last 2.5 years and the information that's actually come out, Sean, has been really just the tip of the iceberg. In fact, I was talking to John Solomon about it today. We were saying, you know, roughly 30% maybe is what we know. The rest of it, the 70% or 75%, is the bulk that's under the water.
Well, I know there will be criminal referrals. We'll have to wait and see what Barr and Durham do with that.
Sarah?
That's exactly what I say. There will be criminal referrals and people should go to jail. Let's see what William Barr and John Durham do.
Prediction, there'll be indictments and guilty verdicts.
So there you have it. We know criminal referrals are coming, and whether or not we get some convictions will be up to Durham and Barr. All right, ladies and gentlemen, enjoy your dog day. Be safe. As always, if you like this video, please click like, share, and subscribe. Thanks to all of you who do that already. I greatly appreciate it. If you're new to my channel, please understand, from time to time, you're going to get unclicked and unsubscribed and unnotified. Happens all the time. Just do me a favor and come back. Click yourself. I highly suggest bookmarking my page if you can. That way, in case you aren't getting notified, you can always just come back and check it out. All my alternate links are down below. Gab, BitChute, Real.video, which is Brighteon.com now. I'm over there on DropSpace, and of course I'm on Twitter at IPOT1776. That's IPOT1776. All those links are down below in the video description, as well as my email if you want to send me some information. That is down below. My P.O. box is down below if you want to send something old school, and if you'd like to support the channel, my Patreon link is down below. All of those links are down below in the video description. All right, kids, this is Sir Patrick Mack, and I will see you very, very soon. Until then, stay funky.